Jim hustled to get here on time and made it, so no reason we should delay.
Here we go.
All right, it is 5:32. Quorum being present, I will convene this.
You I
Those
apologize.
satellites are far away.
When the YouTube video, that's some stress. Hi, Aaron.
Convene this meeting at
Howdy.
5:32 still. Thanks for joining us, Aaron.
Sure.
Let's take a roll call and start with our online participant.
I'm Erin, GC member
Thank
of
you.
Aldo Leopold.
Will Tracy, Aldo Leopold Charter School Director.
Would you identify yourself for the
Yes,
viewing public?
Ray Kressler, staff representative.
Thank you, Ray.
Jim McIntosh, secretary.
Harry Brown, chair.
Jackie Riley, business manager.
Thank you all. Reading of the mission and vision. Ray, would you indulge us in reading the vision and mission?
Thought you were
Since
expecting me
we
to
have
memorized.
No,
Put me on the spot.
no, just read it.
That is a
Okay.
You
requirement.
just have to
Right.
have different voices.
Gotcha, okay. At Aldo Leopold Charter School, the Human and Natural Environments serve as text and lab for learning through direct experience, inquiry, and stewardship. And that's the mission. The vision is Aldo Leopold Charter School graduates will use the skills, perspectives, and information they gain at school to enhance their own lives and to advance social, economic, and environmental sustainability.
Thank you so much. Agenda review. Does anybody have any changes they would like to make to the agenda? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Jim. It's just you and Jim, Aaron.
I second the motion.
You, Aaron. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Moving on to public comment. Are there any hidden public members? No. On to review and approval of the minutes of our February 12 meeting.
A few copies floating around if anyone wants to.
Very nice.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second that motion. Thank you. Any discussion? Well done. Thank you, Jim. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. We are foregoing the student council report today.
I can say, I just want to,
Oh,
for the student councils, want to say that they did have their dance. And it was excellent. They used the hearth.
they knew how to dance? Is that what you were saying?
I cannot speak to the efficacy of their physical performance, only to the student engagement and organization of the event, which was very well operated. So I commend them for that. That was my only student council piece.
Nice. And the hearth was a decent venue.
Yes, it's been a very effective venue for,
Good.
and it's also nice that our students do a lot of work there for improvement. And so to use that as a venue, they can see the fruits of their labor in real time. And so that's a beautiful, beautiful process.
Next year, perhaps they'll be using the, who knows, the library.
The Cafe Gymnatorium.
Cafe Gymnatorium. Exactly.
Hi.
Hey, Alex, thanks
Sorry.
for joining us. That's all right. You've missed some very important things, but we'll move on. Staff report, Mr. Kressler.
Okay, staff report, nothing, nothing huge, just some kind of positive little things going on around, since the last meeting. Got a couple people, kind of recently, Michael Dermeyer, who is a sub here and does tutoring, and Jennifer Lepisco, who's our 8th grade social studies language arts teacher, both got their woofers certification. I think for Michael, it was a certification. For Jennifer, it was a recertification. And Sean Meister, who's a really great EA here, and teaches like a naturalist class, for the middle schoolers. He got his WUFA certification just like a week ago. So that's all good. The drama trip went well, and the kids won best ensemble.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think they were all pretty proud of that. It's a credit to Mr. Tekka, And there was a lot of challenges with getting the kids' grades up to go there. So there is a lot of scrambling around, I think, on his part and stress, and it paid off for the students. And it's probably also a reflection somewhat of our program here, because teamwork is a big part of everything we do. The 10th grade trip seemed to go without any major hitches. Molly said it was one of the best trips she's been on, so the kids must have been really well behaved and the programming was good. The seniors are on their trip, although they did not get to go to Mexico because of the whole kind of upsurge in violence. And I think there was some disappointment, but they made do with the situation at hand. And then I just think lastly, everyone's excited for spring break. And that's all I have to report.
Thank
Ray,
you,
I
Ray.
have oh, yes, thank you. I have a question for you about the drama. The same drama that was presented at the competition. Does Mr. Tech have any plans to stage that here or some other place for the local see?
That's a good question. I hope so, because also the play they did was written by one of our students. Yeah, Tail Doherty. So I think that's really neat. So yeah, I will bring that up because I think that, and then hopefully let you guys know, because that'd be a great way to support it. And it is cool. I think that it was student written. So any other questions?
I saw Erin had her hand up, but it went away.
It was, I was seeing the text from Tanya, so I was just gonna notify someone, but it looks like Harry got that.
Yep, all taken care of. Thank you, Ray.
All right, yeah, I'll get out of you guys' way.
You know, you can have more snacks if you stay.
That's okay.
Thank you. It's good to see you again, Ray.
Yeah, good to see you. Oh, okay.
I would love that.
Thanks a lot. Enjoy the break.
Uh-huh.
Business managers report.
Yay. Based on the current reports and comparisons from last month's reports, we continue to see improvements in all the financials. I'm sure that if you compared last month's to this month, you saw a huge decrease in our negative in operational. I did do some cleaning up. We did a lot of the bars going in, and everything is pretty much up to date. There are like a few that are still not approved by New Mexico PED, so those will get put in there as soon as they're approved. I think there's like one or two that hasn't been put in there, but everything else is looking really good. I don't know if you guys remember last month, our operational was extremely big. We have been able to bring it down to
And you mean extremely big deficit.
extremely big
Just to be
deficit.
clear, yeah.
Yeah. We are now at
848
848, yeah,
positive.
positive. So I don't know if you remember in December, it was like 118 negative. So we did meet the MOE that we had discussed previously. So I was able to move everything out of there and out of operational and put it into Idea B and everywhere else that it needed to be moved into. So at this time, we are still being extremely strict with the POs. Anything that's being issued right now is just simply for necessities. For instance, like paying fuel on a trip, copiers, ancillary staff, anything that's like that. So does anybody have any questions on anything that they saw?
Because of the last minute, well, almost last minute cancellation of the senior trip, were we able, because of those extenuating circumstances, to recover any kind of down payments that we made on? Because I know that the housing bill is kind of high in San Carlos for that trip.
Right.
Were we able to recover pretty much everything?
I know that the last time I didn't get to speak to Maya this week, but last week when I talked to her, she said we've been in contact with a gentleman that was down there that was doing the renting of the Airbnb. So he said he's gonna do what he could. I don't know. Have you talked to Maya?
Yeah, they're, and we're still in the debate process of, they could potentially give us some of the money back or keep all of the down payment for next year. Because that venue worked well for us. It intends to use it again, all other variables being equal with no instability in the region.
Right.
So, and because we used this entity in San Carlos previously, the down payment was less. And so it's not a monumental figure either way.
I just wondered if it made me think of the possibility of travel insurance. I've never gotten that for myself personally, but given travel in Mexico, we've had some ups and downs with that. Wonder,
Yeah.
what's, cost us. But
Right, yeah.
we'll hope for the best.
Often public disturbances are excluded from
Yeah.
such insurances. It may or may not have covered this particular situation.
Luckily, we did make the decision soon enough to not spend any more money. So our initial down payment is the only thing that is potentially up for debate.
And what fund did that all come out of?
It's not operational.
Right, not operational.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
Right, it was an
Yeah.
operational, so.
I don't know if I can't see Erin, but I think she's still there. There she is. I was just looking over to see if you had a hand raised. Any questions for Jackie besides me? No. So you mentioned one or two bars that aren't in yet.
Yes,
You mean to say that they're not in these numbers?
they're not in those numbers, yeah.
And-
And it wasn't operational. I made sure all the
That's
operational
what-
one is, yeah, all the
They're all in
operational
here.
ones is in there.
So when those get entered, it won't change $848.
No.
So looking at the food services,
Mm-hmm.
I got a little concerned. The fund 21,000 looks to me like it's fine,
Right,
right? If you combine what's encumbered but not spent along with what's available, it looks like roughly a third of the total,
right,
which is roughly what's left
mm-hmm,
March, April, May.
right,
But if you look at the next line, universal free meals, that's not the case.
right. We're at a zero. That is.
Not only are we at a zero, but the 4,600 that's encumbered is not enough to cover roughly a third of the year's expenditures.
That is correct.
And what, do we have a plan for how to deal with that?
I want to say yes, but I don't, I haven't planned ahead that far. But I did see that we are a third of the way, and I did see that zero, but no, we don't have a plan yet.
And that 4,600 that's encumbered, that's a purchase order to Guadalupe Montessori?
Yes,
I assume that, well,
they both.
I shouldn't assume
yeah.
anything. Will they continue delivering and charging after that's spent?
I don't know. I don't think that I'm assuming that they will, right? And then we would just,
Because they shouldn't, right? You should,
right,
there's not an adequate purchase order in place.
right.
Somebody shouldn't provide a service that they can't collect for.
Yes.
Okay, all right,
You're
well,
right.
I'll leave that on the table.
Okay.
Hopefully you'll figure out.
I have
on
a
the-
question, just
Yeah,
follow up. I guess maybe I feel confused, so just maybe a definition or clarification. My understanding with universal free meals, that's like the free and reduced lunch meals, is that right?
One is a state funded and one is a federal funded program.
What is the universal free meals?
that must be the state.
Is that the
I'm,
state?
I'm just piping up
I have-
because 21,000 has always been a federal
Mhm.
USDA program.
Right, and then the
Okay.
the 21100.
It's the state, okay.
And so do families have to apply and qualify for the state funding free meals?
No, I don't, no, they don't. Nobody's excluded from the meal
I
program.
think that's why it's called universal.
Okay, so how, I guess I just don't understand how that runs out before the end of a school year.
What happens is that we don't get, it's not a wash. So for example, if our bill is $2,000 in 1 month, we will submit for reimbursement, but we won't get all of the $2,000. It'll be maybe like 1,500. So it's not a wash. We're not getting the exact amount that we spent.
Is that's because of the Montessori lunches are more expensive?
yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have tried to go other places that would potentially be more cost effective, but there's nobody in the area that would provide us with that kind of food or that's even willing to make us our food.
Even willing.
We've been willing,
When we
yeah,
looked at the other food programs,
yes.
I know I'm being recorded, but they were pretty appalling. And that's why we stuck with Montessori, but it is expensive.
And we have reached out to Silver and to Cobre schools and basically they would have to, I mean, it's a lot of extra food and Cobre pretty much said that they'd have to hire extra staffing. And that's not something that they're willing to do.
And it wouldn't be as good.
And it wouldn't be as good.
I wonder if there is grant funding, or maybe that's what you meant by you've looked into other options, but if there's any grant funding to supplement or support a food service like that, whether it could be used to pay the Montessori for their meals or, yeah, supplement some other way for
Is
that.
there?
So, we used to receive grants from Single Socks, which
Yes.
exists to support nutrition in the community, including at schools. I don't know if we have recently.
We still do, yes. And I know that Ally Hennigan is the one that is in charge of that. And I talked to her on Monday. She said she was gonna reach out to them and see if maybe they could
Okay.
provide us with
They
another.
don't have very many cycles, so hopefully
Right,
we're
yeah.
in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know most of the grants I see around food is more for like specialized equipment for like cooking commercial kitchen or school kitchen or like garden related, but I was just curious if that was a possible outlet to find.
And we do get the New Mexico Grown Grant. If you look on Fund 27-183, that one is at 1,838, and that's to buy locally. Like they will buy stuff like pinto beans, some of the meat products, but a lot of anything that's grown locally is for that
So how
amount.
does that money get
When I,
spent?
yeah, when I used to manage that, it was direct pass through to Montessori.
Right. So Montessori will buy the items and then they will send us the bill, and then we pay them
Out of that?
a lot of that grant. Yes.
And so is there a way to just like, how do I ask this? That the percentage that if it's your grant, that that food is going to you? Or is it just dispersed Montessori and Aldo?
No, you misunderstood what
What's the
Jackie
date
said.
on
Oh, sorry.
They said Montessori sends Jackie the bill.
Yes. Yes. So
That's what I'm told.
it's food for us. And then Montessori will buy it, prepare the food for us, and then they will send us the food for the purchase items. For example, if they need like 50 pounds of pinto beans, they will buy the 50 pounds of pinto beans and then use them for us. And then they will send us the bill. Is that what you were asking, Aaron?
Another potential source of funding is the foundation.
Right, and that's the one that we've sort of been keeping on reserve.
Okay.
Knowing that we don't, again, we're gonna continue to be extremely fiscally conservative. Knowing that we want to only use the foundation funds for really.
Yeah, and I try not to even think about them as a source of backup just because I want to be able to use them in an extreme emergency.
My hope is these are the last few months of our lives where we
Right.
have to do this,
Yeah.
and I would be thinking about.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
No, they're ready. They understand that that's the plan. So they're on deck if we need to.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So another item is the very next line after New Mexico Grown is the out of school time. There's still 10,400 in there.
Right.
Is that available to operational, or is that still waiting to be spent on stipends?
That is actually set aside for additional compensation. I mean, we can always submit to transfer it over if necessary.
Okay.
But we have come up against a few obstacles when we submit the RFR. They're being extremely strict with everything. We thought it was just going to be like anything after school, but instead of doing that, like if they're going to go on a field trip, we need to submit for an approval of the field trip before even going on it. If we buy any kind of food, we have to say, Maya has even had to go as far as submitting recipes to them.
Wow.
So it's just been, at this point, I think we've used up I think we have maybe like $1,000 left that we can use in that fund for the trips, but then the other part is left for additional compensation.
Yeah, and we're still using that to offset costs of, after school music.
Oh, we are?
and stuff
Yes,
like
we
that.
are.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
So we are,
Some of that might
Yes.
be helpful that way.
Right.
as long as it fits within the out of school time parameters, which are, the name you would think is very clear, but it's even more.
It's even more
More
defined.
detailed than
Yeah.
that, so, yeah,
Okay.
while it's a great source of increased revenue for us, it's a tricky balance for a small school
Been
like
a
Aldo
very-
to
yeah.
determine, what is the human impact cost of completing these reports, if it takes Maya a few days to do the RFR and it winds up being like, well, it's actually not worthwhile. So,
Right.
yeah, and there's feedback across the state for the out of school time program with the same thing. And so hopefully they take that and use it to make it more, effective for the students at the end of the day.
And I should add, when I submitted the first RFR, I submitted the first RFR like in, I want to say in October. It got rejected. I resubmitted again
Right.
in September. I mean, it just went September, October, November, December, and then it finally got approved just submitting it back and forth, back and forth. They needed more things, more things, more things. And then finally, like, I just kept submitting like everything all together, like 1 month added to the next month, added to the next month. And then it finally got approved at the end of January.
Yeah.
So we did get
Thanks
the
for
majority.
persisting.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
really. I have only one more question. Sorry, you're getting these because we, due to the early time of the month, we didn't have a finance committee meeting.
Mhm.
How is a private direct grant fund negative?
That is actually one of the ones that I'm waiting to put in. It's actually one of the
Good.
bars.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if you remember, you approved a bar for
Yeah.
$5,000.
That's the
And
one.
that's what it's gonna go into.
So glad to hear that.
Yes, and it's just been sitting there in the OBMS, it's just sitting there. And he wanted additional information, so I did send it out. That's been sitting there for about a week, so I just touched base with him today. And I said, are you waiting for more information? Like, what's happening with this bar? So it's just sitting there. Waiting to get approved.
And I realized I lied. I have one more. Often there's a increase, very small, to the unit value
Mhm.
that's done in January, February.
Yes.
Did that happen this year?
We did get a letter that the unit value is going to increase, yes, but we haven't gotten actual numbers.
And that isn't reflected here yet.
No,
Well, that could be significant. I mean, even if it's half of 1%,
right,
that would be a huge margin for us.
right,
Okay.
Here's their memo.
yes.
Oh, it is saying it there,
Mhm.
1.11%.
But don't we also get like an exact figure? Like like when we get a memo and then I'm supposed to submit a bar, right?
Yeah, but we can calculate it.
Okay, I figured.
We can do the math.
Figured you were gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is also larger than I was expecting. That's larger than it has been lately.
I was waiting to get the memo of the exact. So I could show you guys, so, but, yeah.
Be $28,000.
Mhm.
That'd be my guess, around $30,000. Okay, that makes me breathe much, much easier.
Speaking of breathing
Yeah.
easier, it's good. I'm very reassured by the trends in the budget and props to you two and convey our props to the staff who've been in the time of austerity,
Yeah.
watching what they spend and it's paying off for the school.
And it's so nice to see everybody's contributing, like everybody, like there is not somebody that's like, oh, well, I need this, I need that. Nobody has said that they need anything, like everybody's just so in agreement to, they know like the condition that we're in, they know what situation we're in, and everybody's like just trying to figure out where we can get money, like if they want to travel, hey, like this is where I can fund this from, so they're like not just being like, hey, we'll figure it out. No, they're coming to me and saying, hey, I need to take this trip, but I'm gonna get money from this. Can I use this and this and this and this? So it's been really nice to see everybody just come together and pitch in and do their part as well.
Awesome, thanks. Anybody have any questions for Jackie? Or maybe there's more. I might have hijacked.
No, you're good. I am prepared to go over the budget because you did say that we needed to go over like more.
Yeah, let's save that for, if you don't mind,
No,
save
right.
that for new business.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I do have a update on the bus.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, no, so I got an email and I think did I forward it to you?
No, I don't think so.
He said that it's gonna be ready this week. And
Oh, wait, let me check the.
yes,
I know.
No, I'm just learning about these prediction markets out there in the world.
Yeah.
People bet on crazy things.
no, I'm gonna.
I think
put
there
this-
should be a bet about this bus.
I'm just ready for it. Like, and I'm just like, yeah, like before I used to get excited whenever he would say that. And I'm like, okay. I'm gonna see if I can-
Man, I would have
But-
lost so much money.
But he just said that it was ready. Wanted to read exactly what he wrote,
So what does that mean it's ready?
that he put, let me see if I can find it.
Ask why.
Okay, he just sent it on
I
Monday.
mean, when's it getting here?
So I just got this on,
Where'd you get it?
I just got this
Yeah.
on Monday.
Yeah.
And it says, good morning, Jackie. I will have your bus lettered and ready to go this week. I apologize for the delays. I have been in and out of in and out with medical issues and have had limited time in the office, but I'm back now full time. I will update you when I have better idea for delivery. Yeah.
Oh, really? To make up for the delay? They kind of should.
Guess so.
Well, but how much will we be charged for that?
If they're making it for the delay, shouldn't be charged a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
If. Yeah,
Okay.
so that was sent on Monday at 10. I haven't heard from him anymore. I did write back, thank you.
It's like family of yours,
Yeah.
and yet we get this.
Yep.
His last name's Tracy.
Oh.
That's, you know how New
Well,
Englanders
no,
are.
his last name's Stacy, so
Close enough.
that's close enough.
That's right.
Hi.
See, not true.
It's a good thing we didn't know about this.
6 point
Making a
print,
decision
didn't
about
write it.
Position.
Yeah, right. So
Yes.
any explanation of bars or anything for us?
Yes, I do. We have 2 bars to look over. The first one is bar 27. This one is per Title I, and it was actually a memo sent from the state. And it's not very big. It's a negative 614.86.
Okay,
So that's not too bad. The next one is bar 28. This one is not so much, it's just a transfer, and I'm submitting to transfer monies from the salary expense over to speech therapist contracted, and this is in Fund 24106. And that is idea B. And that's just simply to budget for anticipated expenditures in the ancillary staff.
the Title I fund is one of those that's currently negative, roughly 9,000.
This one's actually idea B.
No, but I'm referring to 27.
Oh,
The previous part you mentioned, was
right,
Title
yes.
I,
yes,
and that's already negative, so now it's
Mhm.
more negative.
yes, a little bit more negative.
So we'll have to cover those expenses somewhere
Right.
from the new unit value.
Huh?
May, hopefully from the new unit value. Gives us 30,000 to cover a $10,000 deficit. Any questions for Jackie?
Thanks.
Yes.
Erin's shaking her head. Thanks, Jackie. Mr. Tracy.
All right, director's report. Anyone but Jim. What was the color?
Salmon,
I was gonna say salmon, darn it.
He
No,
disagrees.
charred brick,
whatever.
burnt orange.
No, wasn't like your water. We voted against that,
The
being accurate.
if you're able to view the Parent Square monthly newsletter,
What
there's
color
a
is
correlation.
this? Ultraviolet?
So there's the opportunity for a refresher, which the newsletter usually comes out right before governing council, so you'll have some foreshadowing of what's next. Trying to keep the two aligned. I have a lot of these little fun things that mentally I do just for my own enjoyment. Yes, yeah, it's a little off in the colors there. Wow, my palette skills are not so good. I saw purple and I was like, this is purple enough. Look at
So
that. I mean,
different.
come on, it's close
So
enough.
different.
All right.
These
all
are
right,
4
all right,
different
all right.
letters in Roy Gabiv.
I'm keeping it brief today intentionally. This is, you have, is a 1 slider today. Enrollment maintained the same at 183. We've been, like I said, consistent since we had our initial early in the year adjustments. And then our only strategic plan reporting item is running list of staffing and other needs and wants and estimated costs for such. I think running is the right word for that, because there's a lot of moving pieces there, and as we enter spring break, I am sending out the intent to return document to all staff to have an idea of where everyone is at. We've already been having a number of individual discussions, and so some folks have information relevant only to them. But for everyone will have that opportunity, and they'll have the time of spring break to reflect upon where they want. Considering the facility adjustment, or a couple of the increased staffing,
Wait a second,
yeah,
you sent out letters to everybody? Is that what you just said?
yes. Well, everyone gets a update every week, and the letter will be in there,
The renewal?
yes.
Okay.
So those that have had other conversations are
So
well.
it's a letter of interest sort of,
Yes.
right? What is your interest?
Yeah,
Not
intent to
a
return.
guaranteed.
Yeah, no, it's not an offer.
Right,
It's,
okay.
do you intend to return?
Oh, okay.
So that's all
Thank
it
you.
is. Good clarifying question.
Basically
Thank you.
asking, what do you plan on doing? Retiring, not coming back,
Yeah.
coming back?
Yeah, that's it.
Bingo.
Yeah. And so thinking about the staffing needs for next year, we do have SB9 funding, thanks to our collaboration partnership with Silver Consolidated. And we thank Will Hawkins for his willingness to continue to honor the intention behind SB9. And we're going to use that for maintenance. We have an individual who is interested in doing maintenance for us next year on a part-time schedule. And also IT staff, we will to use SB9 funds for those under as contracted workers. And then we're also looking to add some special ed and EAIA support so that we have a few extra folks around to help fill in the gaps. Because we have a number of trips going on, and it's small school, someone's out for an extended period of time, it can be tricky, and it's rather than have an intermittent rotation of subs, if we can have support staff that are able to fill in those roles in-house, that's better for educational continuity. So those are a couple of the more significant additions that we will have in the future. Also a shift in YCC internship and MLSS student support work. Working to separate some of those tasks, again, for the efficacy of both. Because although we've had a consolidation of many tasks in a small number of people, and looking to bring that back to what makes the most sense rather than what we need to do in order to remain fiscally viable. So that's the strategic report. Facility update is, we are in a position now where, as we have discussed before, we can actually submit a number to Silver for the purchase of Jose Barrios Elementary. The New Mexico Finance Authority was here in Silver City yesterday. And Will Hawkins, myself, Priscilla Lucero, and the NMFA folks, we toured Jose Barrios, and they took photos, and we talked about the numbers and the details, and we're in a spot now where we can make an offer, a non-legally binding but formal letter of intent to offer. And maintaining the ethos that I want to ensure that we honor and respect Silver Consolidated Schools' investment into that building, and provide them with the maximum amount of money that is fiscally viable, and ensuring that we have the funds to make the capital improvements to bring our facility, or to bring Jose Barrios Elementary below the average weighted New Mexico conditional index, which is a requirement of the NMFA Charter School Revolving Loan Fund. So the number, there's not a ton of room. We know we can't wiggle much, and there's 0% chance that we can just offer the initial appraised value of 2 million, but we're going to do our best we can in good faith to get as close as possible. So we'll discuss that later on. We also we received the formal estimate of services from a contractor that is approved state vendor, and we've enjoyed working with these folks already, and that number is helping provide a little bit of corroboration to the data presented by Chris and Paul. So that's another metric for the NMFA to provide reassurance for what we think things will cost. There's obviously contingency costs in construction, but we're in the right ballpark. So there's nothing that was remarkably abnormal in the report from the actual contractor who would do the work. And they visited the facility a number of times to take measurements and compare. And part of what we've done to sort of cut down some of those capital improvement costs is just be creative with the use of the facility. And I think we talked about this at the last governing council, but like, for example, one of the more significant things we're gonna do is use the largest basketball court as a parking lot and trip prep area and our fleet vehicle storage area. So it'll work for multiple things at once. And then we don't have to lay a new layer of concrete. All we have to do is remove the basketball hoops and connect that to the primary access area, and then we're good to go. So that's gonna work out really well. And then a couple of other little things here and there to make it easier. Rather than replace all of the walkways, we can just remove the walkways and have grass. So things like that save a little bit.
Is that March 26th date still? That was the date that we might be hearing something from them. Is that still?
Yeah. So March 26th is when the NMFA will put their final rubber stamp on it. March 10th is the private equity checkpoint within our funder for this project, and that is the most likely thumbs up or thumbs down. So that is significant.
I'm sorry, I don't.
That's significant. So the New Mexico Finance Authority, they review projects on a monthly basis, and there's a different checkpoint and internal committee each week within that month. And so there are 4 different checks that they will go through. It's early in the month, and it's a significant and a little bit more maybe thoughtful about the numbers and the risk of a project for the NMFA, and that's the private equity checkpoint, and that is the one that will occur next week. So if that goes well, then we're in a really good spot for funding. And if not, then we'll have to adjust.
I'm wondering the same
Why
thing.
do they call it private equity?
Because there's still private equity investment in the New Mexico Finance Authority, even though it's a public entity.
Troubling.
And perhaps they know, maybe they, I don't know, I can't speak for the NMFA, is what really the best answer I can give to that one, but that's where it is.
Pretty good. Thank
But
you.
it's maybe best described as the tightest sort of fiscal examination of the project.
That's a far more articulate way to describe it.
okay.
That's what I was getting at, yeah.
And if we pass that.
We're
or
looking
we can
really
feel
good.
even
Yes.
more confident.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
And-
that is the make or break check.
Is that, I mean, it's not necessarily just a black and white check, right? It's also, I would think, a level of commitment, right? Because if they're gonna commit 3 million, that's a different make or break calculation than if they're committing 2 million. So part of what they might come out with is this amount is what's safe
Mhm.
by our calculations.
Yep.
Is that what you expect?
Well, I think so, and sort of to get ahead of that, we've already adjusted the amount that we are asking for in order to stay below a 75% loan to value.
Oh,
Because if we were to go
Nice.
above a 75% loan to value, that is going to require more of a reach for them.
Sure.
And so and again, it's tight, but at a 75% loan to value for the forecasted appraisal of the facility, counting for the improvements we plan to make, we're still well within the ballpark to have this come to
that's an
fruition.
excellent answer.
So that-
75 is a comfortable number.
Right, so that's where we're at, and so hopefully that provides, and again, we have a very robust narrative. I mean, this is a great project. And it sounds like everyone wants to see it come to fruition, so I feel as good as one can about it. That being said, it is still, there's anxiety around that. And that's a good segue into the capital outlay update, which is that thanks to the lovely support of our representatives who've been very cooperative and helpful with all the Leopold as we move forward with this project. They have pushed through our initial request, and on March 11th is when the governor will sign that or not. And so that will be $250,000.
This is, somebody needs to be thanked, it's Representative Terraces and Senator
And Priscilla Lucero.
and Priscilla Lucero.
Correct, yes, those are all folks that have really.
Do you know
Got
the
the back.
breakdown between our two representatives?
It's a good question, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
and I looked briefly and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, no,
I saw the 250, but I didn't know how much came from which.
correct, I do not know. I do not know, but we're very thankful for that.
Yeah, sure.
Because the language in that outlay also, in that appropriation also says acquire. So we can use that for
Right.
and again, we're not gonna have extra money because we're trying to give Silver as much as we possibly can. But that helps
Absolutely.
because that essentially offsets by bringing the NMFA down to 75% loan to value. That 250,000 offsets what would have been if we were going at 80 or so, which is where we were at we were at higher numbers originally. So this brings us back. And so we're still in a good area there. I'll come to calendar at the end. Well, I guess I'll show it one. Do you want to wait until we have that as a
No, not
business
necessarily.
item?
Why don't you cover it now,
Okay.
if that's okay with everyone?
All right, here is the final draft version of the 2026-2027 calendar.
We don't have this in print, I guess.
No.
Okay.
We could print it, but if Jackie's narrative is not robust enough, we are attempting to limit our
We don't
our
have color
printing.
ink.
And the fact that this is and maybe next year we'll have to do like pattern stripes and dots or something, so the colors don't matter as much. But the only the only difference from what
Well-
you have seen before. Yes, Aaron. Yeah. Oh, sorry. You should be able to see this. My
Oh,
apologies.
yeah.
Sorry.
Give her the color version too.
Your oversight. Okay, so you should be able to see that now. Can you see it, Aaron?
Yes. I did
And I-
have a couple of other questions, but I don't have to ask them before the calendar.
Okay.
My
That's fine.
hand
I
was raised
apologize.
previously.
That's my fault and poor technology skills when it comes to the ability to go through the presentation and stay attuned. So anyway, the only change is adding an in-service day before students return following spring break. And this was done with an overabundance of staff feedback. Everything else is the
You're
same.
saying you had too much staff
You had
feedback?
too much?
That's what I hear.
Well, it was-
I'm gonna tell the staff.
It was an overabundance.
Okay.
It was clear that was important to them, and I understand that point as well. And since we can design the calendar based upon maximizing educational efficiency and efficacy, that makes sense as well, to have everyone get on the same page following the long break. Questions?
You have graduation 5/23, but on the calendar 5/22.
Yeah, we're gonna do 22. That's just a typo.
Okay. The green is correct.
Yes, green is correct.
So this isn't the sort of thing that can show up on the calendar, but are you foreseeing that you'll be able to have those Wednesday hour early departures for students?
I do think so. I think that'll not be a detriment to the calendar or to anything else. My only question there, and this is something that we're going to explore further at the spring budget workshop at the end of March, is how frequently we can do those.
Not that you need my endorsement, but I am really, really supportive of that time because a lot of the best educational systems have time for staff to collaborate.
Yeah.
And there's team teaching and collaboration. It's better instruction for the kids, if the time is well spent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And we have more professional development staff planning days in this calendar than we have had in the past anyway. But I agree that those sort of frequent opportunities, especially during the school day, because at the end of the day, we have committees and meetings every day of the week. There's often diminishing returns due to the volume of tasks. Okay, questions? Yes, Harry.
November 3 is marked as a holiday. That's because it's election day,
Yes,
but
correct,
Veterans Day is not a holiday.
correct.
And I don't recall, was there some legislation that says we have to take election day off?
I don't know if I could reference any sort of legislative action.
Seems like early voting and mail-in voting have become so popular.
Yeah.
It's less urgent to have it be a holiday now.
Yeah.
It just became one last year.
I know,
Yeah.
which was hilarious because now in most states is when it doesn't need to be anymore.
Yeah.
Used to be, that was a great progressive, item.
shall
You
see.
want to get your workers to vote, you better give them a holiday.
Just hoping for an election.
We'll just see, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
Voting at
Well,
all,
I think it's a
so.
weird holiday, but
Yeah.
you and the staff want it?
Yeah, and some of these holidays that are kind of maybe odd or debatable are done with the idea of collaborative educational entities that we are aligned with Silver and Montessori and Cobre. We can never be aligned with Western as much as I would like, but these sort of, for example, another one of these oddities that you will find is the end of March, having those
Easter Monday.
extra days in there. And that creates, because we do have a complex interweb we have teachers here that have students in Silver, and we have the reciprocated version of that as well. And so it doesn't matter to me a ton. I'm not a holiday person. So. And one of the other differences too is it's parent-teacher conferences in the fall instead of student-led. Student-led in the spring, so that was one of the other significant differences. And then we're able to maintain full weeks for spring, fall, and Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's great.
And we are still a healthy amount above the PED requirement for days. But not up to the point of, again, diminishing returns for staff and student outcomes. Okay, Aaron, you question.
Yeah, my question originally was back when you were talking about sending out an email and letter of intent for employees interested in returning next year. That's what you were saying, right?
That's correct.
Just whether, my question was whether you conduct annual mid-year evaluations with all of your staff one-on-one.
Yeah, so we do two during the year. There's one in the fall and there's going to be another one following spring break. I don't have that on my page here, but the other thing besides the formal evaluations, which includes a full classroom observation, is that for the fourth quarter, we're designing a schedule for a rotation of peer observations. So that we will provide a sub, and then high school students can observe middle school, high school staff can observe middle school staff, middle school staff, high school, different disciplines, different areas. And this is all done in the sake of collegial development and mutual growth, and also ensuring consistency amongst the board within some key areas. And that's another thing that's not on here, but a key topic of discussion amongst the leadership staff, as was highlighted from the drama trip, as Ray alluded to, that there were students that had to bring their grade up to an appropriate level to be eligible. For any non-curricular trip, you must meet the NMAA eligibility requirements, in Mexico athletics and activities. And so there was some grayness around when late work can be due, what the late work policy is, because currently it's essentially up to teacher discretion. And so we're moving to clarify that and make that more even across the board, while doing our best to honor teachers' autonomy to have their own perspective of late work. But it can be very confusing to parents and students when, teacher A says you have until the last Thursday of the quarter, and teacher B says you have until the last Friday before the last week of the quarter. And when you have a trip like the drama trip that's in the middle of a quarter or semester, it's extra tricky. So we're looking to just sort of streamline some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do feel a little bit conflicted with the idea of a trip. It's not like a ski trip that's very recreation specific, but a trip like a drama trip that for some students, especially in high school, that is their passion, to make it a punishment or a consequence that they do not get to go uh because they have a poor math or a poor whatever in another area. That feels like not looking at the student holistically and understanding that maybe a reason they are going to an alternative education school is for them to see them as an individual versus someone who can check all the boxes in all the academic areas. I don't know, I feel a little bit mixed about that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. That was I have the same thought. And again, in the sake of equity, as we have had students that the same argument could be said for athletics. And if you do not allow a student to participate in athletics, which might be their passion, because the clear state standards, which the drama trip is involved, they follow the standards of the NMAA. It's not Aldo's decision at the end of the day. If we send a student who's ineligible to participate in a sanctioned event, and the students were to win an award in ensemble, that could potentially disqualify the entire group, and that would be poor form, much like if you have the star quarterback of the football team, but he hasn't done his homework all year, but he really likes to play. You can't let him play, because at the end of the day, you do have to maintain at least the minimum eligibility. And that being said, it's never a pleasant experience to have to tell a student that they can't attend a trip that is important to them because they have not maintained eligibility. So I
Yeah.
agree with you 100%.
And I do understand, yeah, that you do have to follow, you know, the standard put into place. And I appreciate the idea of holding teachers more accountable for having understanding with where their students are at any given time, so that the student can then be supported with enough time, you know, to prepare or to bring up their grades or to offer supplemental work or support or whatever it looks like, so they can be successful.
Right, exactly. And that's why, you know, that it was really the drama trip that I was like, oh, wow, the late grade policy had not been something that had been a significant challenge until that trip came up. And so that has warranted a full review so that it will be, there'll be no doubt about what is required. And I think one of the other issues with the late grade policy and with eligibility for some of these trips is the unfair burden on both staff and student, where if a student has not done work for most of the quarter and then they want to go on their event and they you know, at 3:29 on the Friday before the days, drop off all of their work and the eligibility report must be in by 3:30 on that same day. It doesn't really give the teachers the opportunity to give honest grade, and also a reminder that the whole intention of grading is to provide feedback for the student and for the teacher. And so it needs to be a formative process, and it can't just be something that is all done at the very end. Otherwise, we're missing the mark.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with any of that. My other question, when you said, when you were talking about basketball court, you were referring to if the purchasing of Jose Barrios happens, you would remove the basketball courts and the concrete?
No, I would, so there's two basketball courts, well, two basketball concrete slabs. There are like 10 or 12 basketball hoops, basically. So there's far more than we would realistically ever need. And so it's simply repurposing the larger one that would have already required resurfacing in order to maintain the PSFA requirement. Because you can't have, you know, cracks on a basketball court or someone's gonna, you know, twist an ankle or something. It's just it's an unneeded risk. But the rules for parking lots are a little bit more liberal, and so we can turn that into a parking lot and save the cost of building a whole new parking lot and save the cost of having to resurface the basketball court. So we can do two projects in one.
I see, but there still would be basketball courts, just not those.
Yep.
Okay.
This would leave at least 6 hoops remaining, and the opportunity for ample basketball.
Yeah, and not even just for school hours, but I just know that the courts, playground, that whole space is utilized after hours. Maybe as a public space. I don't know. Maybe that's not even allowed. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very
right.
much a gray area, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Except for the community garden, which is clear and allowed.
Thank you.
Yep. And I think the last piece worth mentioning, that another idea on the drama trip, is the idea of turning that, to your point, because that is a valuable component of this school, into a elective class, which would then negate the eligibility requirements for the trip, because it would be part of our curricular programming. So yes, there's a lot on that. That was, yeah, I know where you're coming from on that. Okay. Here's just some other sidebar highlights. This is the conflict awareness trip. I think one of the great outcomes in the conflict awareness trip this year was the change in the location, rather than going back to the Sonoran region of southern Arizona, but using El Paso and Las Cruces and camping in the Oregon Mountains National Monument, which is really lovely. Although you have to be very careful about the gates in the Oregon Mountains National Monument, I will say. So if you ever go there, make sure that you're in the gates on the right time and not outside of the gates at the right time. Or the wrong time, correct. But that worked out very well. So here's 10th grade students at the wall, which is an area of conflict, some might say. And then we have the drama students here as well. And, despite the challenges of eligibility, and there were a handful of students, I think a large part of that was due to the timing of the drama trip this year. One of the things I'm most excited about is that we're able to offer trips like the drama trip and the legislative action trip and some other trips that are not part of our core curriculum and were intended to be entirely removed this year in the name of fiscal viability again, but we were able to be creative in how we funded that. And I again appreciate the staff involved with both of those for doing above and beyond the legwork to make it happen. And then the last photo here is our current senior trip, and there it looks like, is that the beach? Is that Mexico? No, that is White Sands. They get to go to White Sands for the beach experience, and then they get to go to Balmorhea State Park in Texas for the aquatic
The water.
biology, which is a beautiful, warm cenote spring that is filled with interesting aquatic wildlife. So it provides a good opportunity for snorkeling and able to salvage the loss of the Mexico trip. And
Well
you know,
done, pivoting
thank
so
you.
quickly.
I do have to say I think the seniors did a really great job of demonstrating resilience in the face of adversity and also practicing ownership and the buy-in of this adjustment. And, you know, we allowed them to have a huge say in what happened here. And so this is also excellent because, you know, international travel always has a certain level of volatility, depending on where you go. There's a nature that cannot be fully controlled. It's true with any travel, but there's an extra level with international travel. And so now we have a very well-rounded alternative for future Mexico challenges if they so present themselves. So that's where we're at.
Did they end up going to Fort Davis?
I don't think so. No,
I know
no,
they were considering.
no, you mean the observatory?
Yeah.
No, you needed a 2-week heads up to go to the observatory. So in the future, we could go back there.
Yeah.
Instead, though, the students elected to travel to, I can't remember if it was Alpine or Marfa for a little bit of civilized time.
I heard it was gonna be Martha, but might have changed at the end.
Yeah, one of those two.
Mhm.
And then in March, we will have the City of Rocks trip coming up. And this year, the City of Rock trip is the entire middle school. So rather than one session, the entire middle school.
Oh, at one time.
At one time.
Let's split it up.
Family plan.
Interesting.
And we have and it's again, sort of shifting the approach using the middle school, where part of their prep over the next couple of Fridays is learning the skills involved in trip planning and executing trips so that by the time they are seniors, they will have more opportunities for this. They will be able to take more ownership and plan and then lead the trips rather than be passive participants. Not that previous students were passive participants, but it will enhance the opportunities for leadership. And then the last grade level trip will be the 11th grade micro to macro science trip in the Tucson area. They go to the biosphere for that. So those are the next things that are coming up. Those are just the next trips before our next governing council meeting.
They staying at Catalina?
Yes. Yep. So that is all.
Great, so thank you so much. Alex?
Just a question about the legislature, didn't they pass all sorts of education reform bills?
Yes, they did. I'm not,
Any of those, yeah.
well, I was gonna say, there is some relevance, nothing that is like going to below the water or out of the pool or anything like that. And I don't have, I could not give you the best detailed description of all of them. As the bills and the legislative work that I've been focused on are solely funding and facilities. And there are some other ones that are of attention, but there are so many that I cannot keep track of all. That's my honest answer.
There might be a session at spring budget going over the bill. Some years they have that. Maybe after that, you could come back and report to us.
Sure.
Yeah.
If they have one.
Yeah.
And if not, maybe just get whatever PCS and inputs out.
Yep. Done.
Okay,
All right, cool.
anything else for Will?
Thanks, Will.
Thanks.
All right. Under old business, the first item is a letter of intent to purchase Jose Barrios Elementary School. Because this is related to a negotiation, it's actually a closed meeting issue, and I'm wondering if we should put that just before adjournment.
Yep.
Would that work for everybody? If we
Yep.
delay that topic?
That's fine. Do we have to do anything
Should have
official
thought about
with
it.
changing the agenda? Do you need a motion to do that? Or do we just proceed?
No, in fact, especially for closed sessions, there's significant leeway for
Okay,
arranging it, because since it's closed, you're not depriving the public of anything they would otherwise be able to attend. So then on to the school year 27 calendar, which has been presented. That's an action item, and I would entertain a motion to approve, and then we can have discussion.
So moved, and with that, I'm assuming that all the calculations have already been made about the number of days. I didn't count that, I'm thrusting.
Yep, yeah,
Everybody's
we are
done
above
that.
the number of days. What was it, 187?
I wanna say, yeah. I wrote it down somewhere.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Jim and a second from Alex to approve as presented. Is there any discussion? In that case, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. It's unanimously approved. Thank you for doing it this month. I think parents really appreciate having a heads up.
Yeah.
Under new business, review of the current year budget, and this is on the agenda because it's a requirement that we do this, so this is one way to guarantee that's what we're doing. I don't know if you've prepared anything for us, Jackie?
I have. I was,
Okay.
like these last 3 days have been like, I feel like a whip, like I gotta get it going because it was such a short week. If I don't know if you guys had a chance to print out our reports, and if not, will you put them up there? The one that says revenue
So where can I find that?
on the attachments that I sent. You had it up a while ago.
Did I?
I had a similar
I had the
one,
wrong month.
right?
Oh, I sent it to you guys.
It was just yesterday, I think.
I say GC report on bars.
No. No.
Keep
That
going.
one,
There you
that one.
go.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's fine.
And is this being shared?
Or
not yet.
Let me pull it up.
Yeah.
So. Sure.
All right, Aaron, can you see that?
Now I can.
And you should have this too as well, Erin. It's one of the ones that I sent out. Yeah. So this is the revenue. Year-to-date revenues across all funds approximately is about 2.17 million out of the total budget of about 4.12 million. The majority of our revenue continues to come from the SEG, the State Equalization Guarantee, which accounts for the largest portion of our operating funding. And that pretty much doesn't change too much. Does anybody have any questions on the revenue side? No?
I'm studying it for the moment. And Jim, do you need this? Do you need scrolling to happen? I see you looking at the.
No, I don't, I'm not connected to the internet because I didn't print it out. I just.
And I can give,
But I can see this.
and I can give you what I'm saying as well.
No, you've already sent it to us.
Right,
We
right,
got it,
yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to the
And
expenditures.
these are as of the end of,
These are as
February?
of the end of February, yes. Yes. On the next, going on to the expenditures. Year-to-date expenditures are totaling approximately 2.28 million, with an additional 1.7 million encumbered for obligations already committed through purchase orders and contracts. So the largest of the expenditures continue to fall within the instructional category, which is expected since salaries and benefits for the instructional staff make up the majority of our spending. So other major categories are support services, school administration, and then in operations as well. Overall spending is progressing in line with the instructional mission of the school. Operational fund, within the operational fund, which is the 11,000, the school has a total budget of approximately 3 million, with about 1.76 million spent year to date, and the remainder largely committed through encumbrances. You can see that as well.
The majority of that encumbrance is.
Right, and we're,
as well.
yes. And when we say encumbrances, it doesn't mean that most likely it is gonna get spent, but we are working really hard on closing POs that we don't need or that we thought we were going to to maybe possibly need, and then we are just closing them out, just so that we can bring that number down. So, federal and state grants such as Title I, Idea B, and CTE, which is Career Technical Education, are being expended according to program requirements. And when I say requirements is almost all the grants have a certain requirement that we have to abide by. So we are really strict, or we are very careful at going by all those requirements, because if we don't, when we send that in for that RFR, they'll get rejected. And for some reason, like they are being like they're going through those with a fine tooth comb. And they are getting rejected, and we're having to amend those. But so far, we've been getting almost all I would say like 99.9 of the RFRs that I've submitted, they are getting fully reimbursed. So capital funds, including special capital outlay and SB9, remain largely available and will be utilized for facility-related improvements and projects moving forward. And we will continue to monitor spending and revenues closely, and we will bring forward any budget adjustment to bars as needed to ensure all alignment with program needs. We are, regardless, I believe that regardless of how much money we have, we are still going to be really strict with those POs. And I think the staff is fully aware that, if we continue, we can always use it somewhere else. But everybody has been pretty accustomed to, especially this year. Last year, I saw that there was a little bit of kickback with us starting to do that, but this year, everybody's been so good about doing that. So I'm really happy to see everybody working together with that.
I wonder if part of that is because they feel hopeful about next steps. And so it just
I
sort of
think seeing
feels
the
like
bigger
we just
picture,
gotta
yeah.
hold it, we just gotta hold it together for a
Yes,
little
yes,
bit
yeah,
longer.
we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, yeah.
Well, everyone knows everything that they buy that they're gonna have to pack up into a box and move at some point. So it's like, well, I'll just wait and buy it next year. Go to the spot that we want to go.
Yes, so that if anybody has any questions, comments on anything that they saw. It was pretty much
Thanks, Jackie.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
a shout out and appreciation to Jackie for, we had, a very tight budget to start the year off, and then to be at this time of the year in this position, looking relatively promising. It's really good sign. Yeah, it was really great, because I mean, the last thing that we wanted to have to do is ask for emergency funding or anything like that. And that's part of why we're keeping the foundation just on deck.
Yeah.
And there's not money that we're planning to use, and in an ideal world, we won't tap into that at all. And there is a distinct likelihood that where we're at right now, we'll finish fiscal year 25 without 26, my mistake, without any need for additional funding. We're gonna just get across the finish line with running out of gas, which is what you want when you're racing. So
I remember the pain I felt last spring. This feels completely different. It's just a much better feeling.
And shout out to all the staff, because whenever usually, like, in the past, I've seen when they come and like, hey, well, we want to go here and there, what are you gonna fund it with? I don't know, that's like your job. But this year they've been so good, because they're like, okay, we want to go here and here and here, but I'm gonna tell Will that it's coming out of this and this and this and this and this. So they already have it planned out. And I think that that's amazing, because they're like, hey, I'm going to ask for this money from here and here and here. And then I plan to use it here and here. And I'm like, that just makes my job so much easier. So I always like tell them, be sure and highlight that it's not coming out of operational. And that's been really great for you to see that as well.
yeah, I think it's great for the benefit of the staff experience as well, of like, it's not just a bottomless pot of money that you can pull things from, but if you ever, it requires your engagement. And so I think our staff are more informed about budgetary status than they have been in previous years.
Yeah. And the fact that if you need 20 of something, like we can cut that and just need 10. Every little, they've noticed that every corner that you cut is just so beneficial for the whole thing. So they're seeing the bigger picture.
It's great.
Yep.
It's great to hear.
Mhm.
Anything else on budget? All right. Bars are an action item.
Yeah.
You all heard we have two. You want to make a motion?
I make a motion to bars 27 and 28.
I would second that motion.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Tanya. Minute taker a moment? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimously.
Thank you.
And our last item before we go into closed session is GC input. I'm going to take advantage of this moment to remind you all of the training schedule. Our months are running out. In fact, I realized today that one of the hours I thought I wanted to take, I can no longer take. I've waited too long. So don't put it off. I can still get my hours, of course. And 3 of us have an extra hour because we went to Las Cruces.
I actually received an email from the person who
Yeah.
counts such hours. And I
Yep.
said, well, as a matter of fact, it's not as bad as it looks because I.
Oh, you responded to them?
I did, and then I said, and also, we are credited with an hour for the financials workshop, correct? That is.
I don't think so.
Oh.
I've never gone through the PEC certification process. We could.
Well, no, I don't need to add something else.
That was
For some
strictly
reason-
to comply with our
Oh, okay.
conditions of approval.
All right, then I need full.
Sorry, Jim.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can sit there all day full.
I'm not gonna be around much.
I'm not gonna be around you.
Okay. Is there any other public business to be conducted?
Well, yeah, I just have a GC input that's
Yeah.
not GC input, it's this committee report.
Oh, very good.
Which is not a great report. SAC committee. It seems to be losing marbles or something. We can't seem to get it together. Not sure of the status of the picnic, which was supposed to be scheduled for April 7th. So it's up in the air.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I'm personally trying to resurrect it, but I'm not convinced that I have. That's gonna happen.
See, yes. I just missed meetings, so I'm like, don't know.
Well, we haven't had,
Yeah.
we've canceled 2 in a row. Or something.
Yeah, and I think it's been really interesting seeing, not knowing about SAC and seeing SAC evolve over the year and Ms. Phillips and I have sort of come to the same conclusion that the only way SAC will be successful is if there is a parent or community member who takes ownership of it and
Let's
operates
assess
it. Because there is not a staff here that is able to do that. And
That's,
there's
yeah, it's not supposed to be
It's
said.
not supposed to. be
right, and
staff.
parents are looking for staff, and if staff says I can't make it, then the meeting is canceled. It's like, well, you guys can still meet and you still do the thing, and it's still really valuable. And you can advise the staff, but you can't count on the staff to facilitate that.
Yeah,
That's a
okay.
shift, yeah.
It's not. We'll discuss that
Yeah.
because I'm not sure I see it the same.
Erin has her.
We didn't. Yeah, I don't know how it morphed into her being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good question. I agree. I
So-
see that.
All right, Aaron?
I could only hear a little bit of that. It was a little muffled. But this is just related to committees that I'm on the Equity Council Committee and we'll be having our meeting tomorrow. And my understanding is that equity and restorative practices switch month to month. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. I had kind of a question or asking advice as far as being on a committee like that as a governing council member. And when people, let's say parents of Aldo come to me with concerns or as a friend, is that something that is appropriate for me to bring to a committee like that as a GC member, or is there a different way to address something like that? It feels equity or restorative practice based.
I would think if it's something that has to do with the policy, you could certainly bring it to the committee to discuss. If it has to do with an instance of personnel matters, I would not. And maybe there's more categories I haven't addressed, but to me, it seems like it depends on the issue. You are absolutely 100% doing your job as a governing council member and a committee member if parents give you feedback about, for example, policies, right? that's 100% what you should be bringing to that committee. Is your perspective as a governing council member in contact with parents and friends and students about these issues. But if somebody says, person X did Y to my daughter, that absolutely should not go to the committee. You need to go to Will, unless Will was person X, in which case you come to me.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think that sometimes it is a parent or someone in the community not even understanding or being aware of the policy or of a policy on that. And so I guess really the best I can do in that way is inform them to the best of my ability by being on the committee. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. And I should apologize. I didn't mention that I took committee reports off because we wanted to make this shorter and I thought that was expendable. So thank you all for finding a place for what you had to say.
I know it was a good month for it, because with going 3 trips, 3 weeks in a row, very disruptive.
It was
for
rough.
committees, yep.
Yep. All right, any other governing council input? In that case, I'm going to call the open meeting to a close, which means you will stop recording